is Sarah with Posh Pooch Designs, and today's video I'm going to show you how to make this fun dog bandana. Works great for cats too, and the pattern is a free pattern on my blog, and it has 3 sizes included, small, medium, and large, so it's good for any size dog, cat, or pet for that matter. Now this is made out of worsted weight 4. It's made out of Red Heart with Love. But for our video today, because the dark brown can be kind of hard to see, I'm going to be using this lighter brown color just so that you can see it better. You're also going to need a little bit of a different color for your double pom-pom here. And we're going to do crimson and cream colors just for that. And I'll show you how to make that little double pom-pom at the end. And you're also going to need an H hook. And I've got my H hook here today. You're going to need a needle to weave in your ends like this with a nice big eye, and you'll need your trusty pair of scissors. And that's all you'll need. So let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing you need to do, I'm going to be doing the small size, and the first thing you're going to need to do is to chain 51. For the larger sizes, you'll have to chain 66 or 81. From medium and large. We're going to be making the small size today. So what you're going to do, the reason this is so long is we're starting with the ties, and we'll be stitching across here back and forth, and then we'll start here and work our way this way. All right, so brown yarn, white yarn, and a couple of colors for a pom-pom. H hook, let's get started. So we've chained our 51 here. The next thing that we need to do is we're not going to stitch in our first chain, so we're going to put 1 single crochet in the second chain from the hook and in each chain across. And just in case you don't understand how to do a single crochet, you put your hook through the stitch or the chain you're working on, pull up a loop, yarn over, and go through both loops. And we're going to do this all the way across. 1 single crochet in each chain. So now we've single crocheted 1 single crochet in each stitch across, and we have 50 single crochets because remember we didn't stitch in the first single crochet. So for the next row, row 2, we're going to chain 1, which does not count as a stitch, and then we're going to put 1 single crochet in each single crochet across. And then we'll do this for 2 rows. So row 1, 2, and 3, whoops, get some yarn out here. So row 1, 2, and 3 will be 1 single crochet in each stitch across, and this is going to give us a nice band. Now if I do 3 rows for the small size, if you're doing the medium or large, you might want to do 4 rows just so that it's a little bit thicker, but you don't have to, because all this is the tie. But if you feel more comfortable with the medium and large dog having an extra row, you certainly can add an extra row in there. So we're going to put 2 more rows of single crochet to form the ties of our bandana. So now we have 3 rows of single crochet. This is for our ties at the top and the band at the top of our bandana. Now, like I said before, if you want your band to be thicker for your medium or large size dogs, you can add 1 or 2 more rows, whatever makes you more comfortable. But remember, we are going to be tying this in a little slip knots so that it stays on their neck. So if it's too thick to tie, that might not work. But you know your dog and what you think is best. Now, for row 4, we're going to chain 1. And then we're going to slip stitch in the next 15 stitches. And a slip stitch, you just put your hook through, pull your loop back, and go right through that stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Pull out a little bit more yarn here. Oh, my yarn's on the wrong side. Let's do 5 more. 1, 2, 3. Whoops. There we go. Get a little snag there. 4, 5. Now, for the medium size, you're going to slip stitch 20, and for the large size, you're going to slip stitch 25. This is your end. Now you'll notice this is a shortish tie, and the reason I do that is because I just want you to tie a little slip knot in it, and I'll show you how to do that at the end, because if the ties are too long, they can get them caught in their toenails or in their teeth, so we need to be careful with that. So after we've done those first slip stitches, we're going to single crochet in the next 16 stitches. So, whoops, we're going to go in the next stitch and slip stitch. Single crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, get some more yarn here, 15, and 16, and that'll leave you 15 stitches on this end that will be the other side of your tie. And so our bandana is going to be in those 16 stitches in the middle. Now remember, if it's a medium, you did 21, and if it's a large, you did 26. But of course, like I said, this pattern is on my blog, so you can go there and get that. All right, so now we did row 4. You're going to leave these last stitches unworked, because that's the other side of your tie. Now for row 5, we're going to chain 1 and turn. So we're turning our work, and we're going to put 1/2 double crochet in each stitch across. So yarn over, go through the first stitch, pull a loop through, yarn over, and go through all 3 stitches. Yarn over, and go through all 3 stitches. Yarn over, pull a loop through, go through all 3 stitches. And those of you who have watched any of my videos, you know the 1/2 double crochet is one of my favorite stitches. All right. Those are Maximo's tags jiggling because he's itching. He's such a silly boy. All righty. They love to get up and sit behind me when I'm in my chair up here. All right, a little bit more yarn. All right, now I'm going to count, make sure I did the right amount of stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. I need one more. Sometimes that last stitch gets me because it's where you went from doing a slip stitch to a single crochet, so it's a little bit off. So you make sure you count that stitch and then give it a good look to make sure it's nice and centered. All right, so that's how you should look after row 5. I'm going to turn my notes so I can see, because the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to change colors. And we're going to be doing our white row. Here's our white. Oops. And what I do is I don't cut off this brown yarn. I go ahead and join in my white like this, because we're going to be doing 2 rows of white. We'll go back, and then we'll come back, and then we can tie off our white, and we don't need to tie off the brown. So let's make a slip or a single crochet there and snug that down. Make sure everything's nice and snug. And then we're going to turn our work. And just be careful, put your other string back here because we're going to be working with the white. And with the white, we're going to be doing 2 rows of single crochet. And we're going to put 1 single crochet in each stitch across. We'll do a row of single crochets across, we'll chain 1, and then we'll do another row of single crochet across. So now we've single crocheted across here, and then we chained 1, turning chain, and then chained 16 single crochets across here. And what we're going to do here is we're going to cut our white, and we'll weave those in later. Just put them behind. And we pick back up our brown yarn and go right back in that stitch. Because, snug that down, there it is. Because there's no reason to rework that in, because we're going to come back and stitch along that edge and cover that up. And then we'll weave these in with a needle at the end. So, now this next row is where we begin with our decreasing in order to form the point of our bandana. This is where we begin our decreases. So what you're going to do is we're going to be doing half double crochets together. So we're going to chain 2 and we're going to turn. I'm sorry, we're going to chain 1 because we're doing them together. Chain 1 and turn. Now, to stitch half double crochets together, you're going to yarn over, go through the first single crochet, pull a loop up, go in the second single crochet and pull that loop up, yarn over and go through all 4 of those loops. And so what we've done here is we've made 2 single crochets into 1 half double crochet. And then we'll half double crochet all the way across until we get to the last 2 stitches. And all the stitch counts, of course, will be different depending on which size you're making. And this is how the pattern decreases, by putting a half double crochet together at the beginning and end of each row. And it doesn't matter what size, they're worked exactly the same. You just have more stitches if it's bigger. Now we're down to 1, 2 stitches. So we're going to work those 2 together. Yarn over, hook through the first stitch and pull that up. Go through the second stitch and pull that loop up. So you've got 4 loops on your hook. Yarn over and go through all 4 of those. Chain 1 and turn. And we will continue to do this decrease down until you only have 2 half double, oh wait, no, we need to put our white stripe in. Let's see. Until we have so now we've been decreasing 2 half double crochets at the beginning and end of each row until we're down to 8 half double crochets. For the small size, you'll decrease to 8. For the medium size, you'll decrease to 9. And for the large size, you'll decrease to 10 half double crochets. And now we're going to be adding in our second white stripe. And we do that exactly the same. We join our white, chain 1 and snug it down. And then we're going to be putting 1 single crochet in each single crochet. We won't be doing any decreases on this row or the next row for our white stripe. So we'll have 8 single crochets of white. One, two, three, four, five, six, 7, 8. Chain 1 and turn, and again we left our brown hooked on, it's just out of the way. And now we're going to put 8 more single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, oops, 6, 7, and 8. And I had just enough yarn. So we'll just move that to the back. Join our brown yarn back in, snug it down, chain 1. And now we're going to go back to decreasing half double crochets together at the end and the beginning of each row. And we're going to do this down until we only have 2 half double crochets left. So we're going to yarn over, stitch the first 2 together, yarn over, and now we're going to do 1 half double crochet in each across till we reach the last 2. Then we'll stitch those last 2 together, chain 1 and turn. And again, the first 2 together. And we'll do 2 half double crochets, and then we'll do the last 2 together. 1, oops, 2. Sometimes it gets a little stringy. And now we've only got 4 stitches left, so we're just going to make 2 half double crochets. So there's 1 and 2. I said enough of that yarn also. And then yarn over and tie off. Okay, now we need to weave in those ends, so we'll use a needle and weave in those ends. I don't know what that is, and I don't know where that came from. All right. It was probably on my magnetic pen cushion. So we're going to weave this in. It's a very small one, but make sure when you weave in your ends, you use a needle and you go in the stitches, not the holes. And we'll do the same thing here. And when I have 2 tails together like this, I like to do them together. So I'm going to try to do that together. It doesn't always work, but yeah, they're a little thick. All right. Just depends on the needle. So we'll just go ahead, stitch that in there. And then we'll get the other one. And I'm a big proponent of always using a needle to weave in your ends if you possibly can. Because I think that they hold so much better if you can just use a needle and weave those ends in. And let's go ahead and clip those off. So now here we go. And of course we need to weave this end in also. We'll do that later. So here it is, and it's a little bit jumbly, right? So what we're going to do, because we want it to look nice and neat, is we're going to join our yarn right here in this corner. Make a slip stitch and then chain 1. And we're going to put 1 single crochet at the end of each row. Now I did hold the yarn down as I'm stitching, and you can certainly do that. Just go back at the end and make sure that it is secure. Sometimes you have to go back and do those with a needle or it will come out. But that's one way to stitch that down. And we're just going to make 1 single crochet at each end of each row. And when you're single crocheting evenly, sometimes you have to add an extra single crochet or not add an extra single crochet if there's too much space or not enough space. That's why a lot of times the pattern will just say single crochet evenly. And you just have to kind of eyeball it. Let your creative artsy fartsy juices flow. Alrighty. All right. Now, when you get down to the point, you want it to be nice and pointy. And so what I do is in this last stitch at the bottom, space, I try to put 3 single crochets, and that helps it ease around the corner. And then we'll just go right up the side on this side. Now stitching on the stitches is really easy, but it's also hard to get them straight. And so when we get to that portion, you'll see what I'm talking about. But it isn't a football without the football stitches. Alrighty. Almost there. Now this end you won't be able to have crocheted over it, so you will have to use your needle and sew it down. And we're just going right back up to this corner. If you want to go completely around the whole ties, you can. I just don't think it's necessary. Oop. I keep saying, I think my husband must have cut something besides fabric or yarn with my scissors because they keep snagging. I'm just going to pull this back here and we'll weave that in later, but I want you to see how much better it looks once you stitch around it. It's got a much better football shape. It looks a lot neater. Okay, now we're going to put the stitches on. And I just cut off a piece about 18 inches long. And it just depends because the medium and large size will be a lot longer in here and you'll have more room for spaces. I mean stitches. Spaces. Okay, so what I do is I take it and kind of fold it in half. And I kind of mark that like that with my finger. And then I come up. Because really to me it's all eyeballing. And I hold that. And I make my first stitch. And then I go back and stitch across. And again, it's all eyeballing. And I'll go across that one I just did. And then I'll go up where I came out. Trying to stay nice and straight. You want to be straight, but you also want to make sure you get in stitches, not holes. Because if you stitch in the holes, it will pull and look a little bit wonky. And if you like wonky, that's okay. I kind of like wonky myself. Okay, I'm going to add another set of stitches through the center of this one. So I'll just do it that way and then come up over here. Yeah, see, it's up to you how many stitches that you want. I made that stitch, but I'm just going to go over it. I just did it so I could go back. Okay, now I'm going to go right back up there. And I'm just going to go under there. There we go. Trying to get through some of the stitches opposed to the holes. There you go. That one's a little wonky. I need to straighten out, but there you go. That's how you do the stitches, and I just turn it over. Go through a few of them. And there's the bandana. I'm going to show you the pom-poms in just a second. I want to show you how to tie it and what I do. What I do is I put it on my dog, and then I tie just a little knot like this, and yarn is very stretchy, so you can get a little bow in there, a little knot like this. I don't try to tie a big bow or anything. And then I leave it that size, and I just slip it right on their neck like that. I don't tie and untie this because to me it's easier if I can just slip it on than to have to tie it every time. And I don't want this ties to be long, get caught in their teeth or their paws, their claws. And so that's how you make the bandana. So now let's do the pom-poms so that we can add some pom-poms. Now you can add it up here or you can add it down here wherever you want. The pom-poms are really easy to make. What I do to put two together like that, I just take my hand and I wrap it about 20 times. Like this. I'll cut that, and then I'll cut a matching piece. I'll lay that down and put that pom-pom right there. in the center, the loops that I just made. Nice and tight. My finger on it. Okay, so there's one of them. And I'm using Crimson and Cream for OU, Oklahoma. Because my son likes that. He likes OU. We're originally from Oklahoma, so he's an Oklahoma fan. So we did another one. Cut it. There we go. Lay the loops down. There we go. Like that. Now, the next thing I do is I take my scissors and I just cut those loops. Now, I'm not looking for a big poofy pom-pom for this. I'm looking more for just fringe, basically, type pom-pom. And it looks wonky, but don't worry, we'll get it all straightened out. So what we'll do is we'll take the strings and I hold it. And I go like this a few times. And then I just cut it straight like this. When you're trying to make smaller pom-poms, it can be very difficult. And that's why I do it this way. So let's do the red one. I should say the crimson one. And if you just want one color, you can just attach it. And this, I like doing the two together. It's just kind of fun. All right. Don't cut your hand. Okay, then I take this one and this one and I just stick them together. And the way I do that is I take the two strings and I sort of tie them. Move the fringe a little. And then I give them another little tie. Oops. Guess I'll do that again, huh? There we go. If you don't get it just right, they don't stay together. That's true. There we go. Now we got it nice and tight. And it just comes really cute with just a nice little double pom-pom. We're going to get a little mess. And this pom-pom can go here. Or it can go down here. Wherever you want it. Or you can even put it here. Totally up to you. But that's how you make a little double color pom-pom. So, are you ready for some football?